I thought that's a stupid idea, but we did it, and she went in there, and it went for an hour. Then the next time, this happened all the time, because she really defied authority. And then the next time it would only be 45 minutes, and then it got to be less and less. And the last time I remember, she went in there and cranked it all up real loud and then turned it off again. I think it was just the idea that she could
It wasn't
do it.
annoying
And she was
anybody.
getting the last word, but you know, why, that's better than, and she might remember all this differently, but she was not as easy as the other kids to raise because of this nature of hers, and you know, that's her nature. If you asked me what I'd have to do over again, I think I would have tried a little harder to understand the nature of a kid who had this kind of defiance, and maybe if I understood it better, it would have worked out better. But as it worked out, Betty had the right idea with that. Now we're down to Robert, and he was a good kid. He always did everything right, but he just wouldn't learn some of his school lessons. You know, and he maybe the other ones wouldn't either, but he just plain wouldn't do it. I mean, he'd always say he was going to, you know, did you study your multiplication table? Oh yeah, I studied them. Okay, what's 6 times 6? I don't know. So the teacher gave him a bribe of some sort. If you learn these, something will happen, whatever it was. So he learned them, he got whatever it was, and then he forgot the multiplication. You know, that's kind of the way it is. But as far as Cindy goes, Cindy was always the baby, and she avoided some of the work around the house. I know that, but she's a good kid, and I could think of different things that these kids did, and right now I'm drawing a blank. I know that those girls were real hell raisers when they were older. Now maybe the boys were too, but we didn't know about it, and they seemed to be home when they were supposed to be. But the girls were troublemakers in a way. Now I'll tell you something about Cindy though, that she wanted to make some money, and she was about 12. But all of our kids were big for our age, and Yvonne had gotten this job at this inventory company where they go around inventorying stuff in stores, and Cindy went along with her and got a job too, and they accepted the fact that she was 16, but she was only 12. And she tells about being in the aisle there, writing down this stuff, you know, and they were fooling around, about, you know, a 12-year-old kid. And the boss was in the other aisle, and he said, "Who wrote this? It looked like some kid wrote this," you know. And whatever it was that Cindy wanted to buy, she got enough money to buy it, I guess. I think, as I remember the story, that Yvonne had a tough night the night before and couldn't make it to work the next day, and she was the one that was driving to get there, so that was the end of the job for those two.
What is the best piece of advice you ever gave your children?
I gave them a lot of advice, but they didn't necessarily listen to any of it. Advice. I don't know. I know I always said that, you know, just be yourself. You are an individual, and a lot of my kids seem to be shy, and I tried to tell them that you can get out of shyness a little bit. I've always been shy. I'm not completely out of mine, but you can work your way out of it. I told them to just, you know, try to talk to people, just to figure out ways to get around it. You don't have to be really shy your whole life.
What values did you strive to teach your children when they were growing up?
Honesty. Don't lie about stuff. Just let's tell the truth. And we we really tried to keep, well, if you say you're going to do something, to do it. Kind of like my mother said with me, you know, if you're committed to, you know, if you say you're going to have this job, you got to show up. It's part of it. I had a real problem with that particular thing with Janet. Janet was going to quit her job to get a better one, and I said, you got to give them notice. Everybody gives notice. She went and gave notice, and they fired her right away. And I felt like going down there and punching the guy in the mouth. You know, I mean, here, what are you teaching this kid?
Yeah.
And, but it happens, and so what are you supposed to do? Just work till the last day, and then say I'm leaving?
Yeah. It's hard. That's a hard one because you were trying to teach her a value. And
Yeah, somebody else
Yeah.
unteaches her.
what traditions did you try to pass down to them, and how did you accomplish that?
Well, originally we started to pass down the tradition of going to church, but the kids rejected, in the long run, after they grew up, rejected our particular church, not wholeheartedly, but, and I have too. I got a lot of friends that have been going to the same church for over 50 years, but I don't believe in a lot of their precepts. I don't, but I go because anyway, that's one of the traditions, and we'd like to always get together around the holidays. That's a tradition.
What about each of your children makes you most proud?
This will be hard to do too, although I'm proud of all of them. They're all really good. I just have to do it in order. Dave, I'm proud of him in a lot of ways. He had a problem with reading. I think he's somewhat dyslexic, but he's gotten through life way better than maybe he should have. He's just anything he sets himself up to do, he's been able to do, and I'm really proud of him for that. Janet, I'm proud of her, the way she's most of these are going to be work related, I guess, but I'm proud of her, the way she, when she got a job as assistant manager of the Walgreens, and she took it on and really enjoyed the job, and capable of doing so much. Yvonne, I'm proud of the way that she raised those two kids of hers just about by herself at first, before she married Fred, and she went back to school and got her. She became a pharmacy technician, and I'm proud of her that she could do all that. There's a lot of other things I'm proud of these kids for, but I'm just thinking work-related now. There's, with Becky has done a whole lot of things in her life, and when I was raising her as a kid and she was so belligerent and everything, I thought, oh, this kid is never going to have a job. She'll tell the boss to go to hell, and she won't, but she has done wonders in the work world, I think, and she's really smart. She's got it all together. And Robert, I'm proud of him that he is so outgoing and he has such a personality. Everybody likes him. I don't know of anybody who would say, I don't like that Robert, but everybody likes him. That's the way he is. And I don't always agree with the choices some people have made and these kids have made, but they do their own business. And as far as Cindy is always, she always surprised me when she grew up, and she grabbed a hold of her life and started, you know, and got her education and got going with everything. And it's, I'm really proud of all those kids.
Did you take an active role in your children's schooling or in community affairs, and in what ways?
Really, the only active role I took, I think, when I could get home from work on time was to help them with their homework. And I always pushed to try to do it better and help them with it.
Did you travel as a family?
Yeah, we did what we could with the money available.
Where did you, summer vacations?
Yeah, we went camping several times. The kids liked that. One time early on, when the kids were young, I took all of them except Dave. He had a job. I took them to Disneyland. We flew down there. I think they all remember that. And we went to Yosemite, camping, and so on. We all had a good time, I think.
Did you have other members of your family live with you, like grandparents or aunts or uncles?
No, we never, you know, my mother would come and stay briefly, but that's it.
Leaving the nest. How did your life change when they moved out of the house?
Well, Robert moved out, back in, out, and back in. But he's just like a fixture, you know. Life changes because you're not responsible for kids anymore. The biggest change is you're not, where are those kids now? You know, I mean, you're responsible to yourself only, and you don't have to worry about them. That's what I think. And the money got to be easier when they moved out.
Have your grown children fulfilled your expectations for them? And what was your reaction to the path they chose? You've kind of talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, they've all done well, I think, and I'm happy with if they're happy, and they seem to be happy with it.
So this question is, are any of your children married, and if so, to whom are they married, and when did they get married? So I don't know if you can remember all of that.
Well, I don't know the dates they got married. This is probably for somebody that's got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Even 3 kids.
Yeah. Well, Barbara could do it. I had Barbara do it.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
got, how many? She had 5
5.
of us.
Well, their marriages, the marriages that are still in existence now are Yvonne's marriage to Fred, and he seems like he's just a really nice guy, and I'm happy for them both. The same goes for Cindy. She's married to Daryl, and they're both happy, and I'm happy for them. What do we got? Nobody else. I'm trying to think. No.
Do you have any grandchildren?
Yeah, I got 11.
So, okay. What is the full name and date of birth for each of your children's children?
I don't know.
Can you name some of the 11?
Oh yeah, well, we start with Dave again. Derek was our first grandchild, and Rachel, and the other son, another son, Jordan. Janet's got 2 girls, Melody and Vanessa. Then Yvonne has 2 girls, Veronica and Michelle. And Becky's got 2 girls, Felicia and Erica. And Robert doesn't have any kids, and Cindy has 1 daughter, and that's Jessica.
Well, that's good. So what do you enjoy about being a grandparent?
Well, It's a lot different than being a parent because you're not responsible for them. And when you see them doing something that you maybe should be corrected, it's not your job to correct them, and so you don't. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And you can enjoy the kids when they're around and then they go home.
Do you have a particularly special relationship with one or more of your grandchildren?
No, I don't think so, no.
Have you become a great-grandparent?
Yes.
So can you tell me the names? I won't ask you the birth dates, but can you tell me the names of your great-grandchildren?
Well, let's see, how do I start? I guess I have to go to with Dave's son, Derek.
Wait a minute,
has
did you
two
mention
daughters.
Jason in there? Janet, you didn't mention Jason, did you?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
there I went, skipped. I knew I was skipping somebody.
So he's had the first great-grandchild, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, Janet's had two daughters. That's, I'm getting all, Melody and Vanessa, and she also has a son, Jason, which I don't know how I couldn't miss him. Okay, we'll start with him. He has two kids, a son named Cole and a daughter. She is not very old. I'm gonna forget her name. I'll go up to Dave again. He's got Derek. His son Derek has two girls. There is
Raven?
a Raven and